It was a cold, moonless night when Emma decided to take the shortcut home. She had just finished her late shift at the diner and was eager to get back to her warm apartment. The usual route would have taken her an extra 20 minutes, but the Old Forest Road seemed like a good idea at the time. After all, she'd driven it once before during the day and it had saved her time. But tonight, something felt off. The road was narrow, barely wide enough for two cars, and the trees on either side loomed like dark sentinels. Her headlights cut through the thick fog that had settled over the road, creating an eerie glow. The radio, which had been playing softly, suddenly crackled and went silent. Emma frowned and tapped the dashboard, but it remained dead. She shook off the unease and focused on the road. That's when she saw it. A figure standing in the middle of the road, just at the edge of her headlights. Emma slammed on the brakes, her heart pounding. The car skidded to a stop and she gripped the steering wheel, her breath coming in short gasps. She blinked, expecting the figure to move or shout, but it just stood there, motionless. It was a woman, dressed in a tattered white dress that seemed to float around her despite the lack of wind. Her long, dark hair hung in matted strands, and her face was pale, almost glowing in the dim light. But what chilled Emma to the bone were the woman's eyes, empty, hollow, and fixed directly on her. Emma's instincts screamed at her to drive away, but her car wouldn't move. The engine had died, and no matter how many times she turned the key, it refused to start. Panic set in as she glanced back at the figure. The woman was closer now, though Emma hadn't seen her move. She was just there, standing a few feet from the car, her expression unchanging. "Please," Emma whispered, her voice trembling. "I don't want any trouble." The woman tilted her head as if considering Emma's words. Then, slowly, she raised a hand and pointed down the road past Emma's car. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Instead, a cold breeze swept through the car, carrying with it a faint, mournful wail. Emma followed the woman's gaze, squinting into the darkness. That's when she saw it. A faint glimmer of light further down the road. It looked like the headlights of another car, but they were flickering, as if struggling to stay on. The woman's hand dropped, and she turned, walking toward the light. After a few steps, she vanished into the fog. Emma's car roared back to life, startling her. She didn't hesitate. She slammed her foot on the gas and sped down the road, her hands shaking on the wheel. As she passed the spot where the woman had been, she glanced in her rearview mirror. The figure was gone, but the flickering lights were still there, growing dimmer as she drove away. The next morning, Emma couldn't shake the feeling of dread that had settled over her. She decided to look into the history of the road, hoping to find some explanation for what she'd seen. What she discovered made her blood run cold. Years ago, a young woman had lost her life by a drunk driver. She had been walking home after her car broke down, dressed in a white dress, when a driver lost control and fled the scene. The woman's ghost was said to haunt the road, appearing to unsuspecting drivers on foggy nights, warning them of danger. Emma realized with a shudder that the flickering lights she'd seen were likely the ghostly remnants of the woman's broken-down car. The spirit had been trying to warn her, to prevent another tragedy. From that night on, Emma avoided the forest road, no matter how late she was. But sometimes when the fog rolled in and the moon was hidden, she would glance out her window and swear she saw a faint glimmer of light in the distance, accompanied by the faint sound of a mournful wail.